Hey there! Today we'll have a look at a pen by this brand. And I picked up this pen from Appelboom Pennen, and if you get very enthusiastic about this pen or other pens, you want to check out the website, do so, appelboompennen.nl. But the interesting thing is, what you should do is go to my website, click the banner of that store, because then you get a 10% discount on anything you buy, except for Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc doesn't allow the use of these type of coupon codes, etc. It doesn't work that way. Anything else, 10% off. So my website, SBREBrown.com. Go there and check it out. Check it out if there's anything you'd like to purchase. Alright, here we have the box. The box opens. Out comes a very heavy box. These are really nice, very shiny, as you can see, very nicely polished. And in there is a pen. The pen, it looks like this. This is the pen. I'm taking it out. And here we have a little plank-like object that stores the pen. There is an identification card with a limited edition number, because it's a limited edition pen, and there is a very nice full-color booklet on Visconti and you know, their pens and the company, etc. All right, now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and I'll do a writing sample. And the pen we're talking about is the Florentine Hills. I have reviewed the Homo Sapiens Florentine Hills, I should say. I have reviewed the regular Homo Sapiens Steel Oversize, which is made of lava, as are most pens in the Homo Sapiens line, but they also have made these fascinating clear pens. I have reviewed the blue one. This is the green one. The green one is called Florentine Hills. Surrounding Florence are indeed beautiful hills. I have seen them, and this green, I think, does really reflect the color that you see there. So very interesting. Let's start at the top of the pen with the Finial. This is customized with that Visconti My Pen system, which means that it's always a little bit hard. Of course, I didn't think of bringing a magnet, and that's fine. You can pop off this little gemstone. It just comes with a little Visconti logo, which you can pop off. It has a magnet in the cap, and you can put on any type of gemstone or semi-gemstone, whatever, precious stone, your initials, zodiac signs, etc. Alright, then we have the cap. As I said, a very nice material. It's very well done, with, of course, the Ponte Vecchio, I should say, sorry, clip, spring-loaded, very nice. Now what is cute is that the enamel that's in there actually is green, I think, to match the finish of the rest of the pen. They have those two rings there. You have a center band. The center band is actually on the barrel, not on the cap. It says Homo Sapiens and number 590 out of 1,000. Then we have the barrel, and the barrel has really attractive swirls on it, and you can really see the depth of some of these swirls. Really, really nicely done. And then you have the filling system. It's a power filler. I can't really show you how that works because it's currently inked up, but what you do, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, you unscrew this bit, you pull out a plunger, put it in a bottle of ink, put the plunger back in, it creates a vacuum, and once the vacuum pops, it draws up ink, which is very cool. It has a secondary ink chamber, which you can see right here below my finger, and that can be drained. For example, when you go flying, there you go, sorry for the noise, then it's empty, and if there are any air pressure differences in the cabin, then the ink will not squirt out. You see these interesting things right there. That's the cap clutch mechanism, and then you have the section, same material as the cap and the end cap, and the Palladium Nib. It's 23 karat palladium. This is a double broad, and I found this to be a very, very pleasant nib. This is how that cap system works. Give it a sort of half turn and it clicks in place. Alright, what can I say about this pen? What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? I'll start with the things I like. I love the overall looks. I love the shape of the section, very pleasant to hold. I think it's a very nice size. You can post it if you want to, but the cap doesn't post very deeply, so then it becomes very long and top heavy. Some people may wonder about those cap clutch things right there and whether they are sharp. Well, you can feel them a little bit, but to be honest, when I hold the pen, I don't really feel any sharpness. Not my index finger and thumb. I do feel it a little bit in my middle finger, which I tend to put relatively highly on a pen section. If I move a little bit down, I stop feeling it, and it's really not an issue for me. I love the filling mechanism. A power filler really holds a lot of ink, and one plunge will typically fill it up, I would say up to about this level or a little bit under that. And if you plunge it again, it will not get beyond this point, but there is a little trick you can use to fill up the entire barrel with ink, and when you do that, it will really last you a long time before you run out of ink, unless you have a double broad on it like this, which happens to be super wet and just, well, it just drinks ink like there's no tomorrow. And that means that this secondary reservoir will dry out really quickly, and you need to prime that again and make sure it's full of ink. And that brings me to the things I don't like so much about this pen. Two things revolve around that secondary reservoir. One is that it's double walled, as you can see, and on the blue model a little bit of ink can get trapped between the let's say the inside of the outer barrel and the little, I guess, round object that is in the secondary ink chamber. So you have two rings and a little bit of ink can get stuck between those two rings. On this model I have not seen it happen yet. I'm interested to see if it will happen. And that ink, it doesn't do anything, it doesn't leak out, but it's a little bit, aesthetically it's not so pleasing. The second thing I don't really like so much about that secondary ink reservoir, although I love the power filler system, is that especially with a wet nib like this double broad, there is not that much ink in the secondary reservoir. So in writing about a full, I would say A4, call it letter size page of writing, the reservoir can be empty and you have to stop writing, open up this valve, get more ink in and write again. Clearly that would not be an issue with an extra fine or a fine nib, probably not even with a medium nib, but as you go into the broader nib range, I would say double broad or maybe 1.3mm stub, which you can also get for this pen, that might become an issue. If you really have to do a lot of writing, that's great with this because this pen holds a lot of ink, but you may have to prime that secondary valve. If you have to write uninterruptedly for a long time, I would say that may be an issue. Having said that, I think it's a gorgeous pen, gorgeous material. The swirls are wonderful. It is limited edition, that means it's an expensive pen. You will not pick this up for $20, but on the other hand you get a very luxurious packaging and you get a pen that writes like a dream. The nibs are called Dream Touch, the Palladium nibs, and I think that's a very apt description because that's just what they are. Very smooth, nice bit of springiness to it, excellent flow. This one doesn't run dry. It doesn't really give me hard starts, which on a double broad is not bad at all. That you will see in the writing sample. What we should do next is take a couple of measurements so you know what we're talking about. With that little added precious stone, the length capped is 147.7mm. That's 5.81 inches. Uncapped, I have a length of 131.2mm or 5.16 inches. Posting doesn't really make sense here, I think. Section diameter, I would say, runs from about 10.9mm or 0.43 of an inch to 12.3mm or 0.48 of an inch. Barrel diameter is about, well, I thought it was relatively uniform, but it does seem to taper. It's about call it 12.8mm or half an inch, all the way up to 13.7mm or 0.54 of an inch. The final thing we should do is take a measurement of the weight. As you can see, it's a little over half full of ink, I would say, and then it, according to my scale, chimes in at about 40 grams. It's not a very light pen, it's not super heavy either, and it's very well balanced. Okay, so again, if you want to check out the pen, go to my website, go to Appelboom's website. This was a limited edition. They will sell out at some point. Maybe they already are sold out, I don't know, but you can check out other stuff. As I said, anything you buy, 10% discount, unless you want to buy a Mont Blanc. I hope this was useful. Let's do a writing sample. and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Okay, so here we go with the Visconti Homo Sapiens. That was an absolutely terrible H, I'm sorry. The Florentine hills, but I don't have space to write down hills, so I'm just going to draw 2 hills. There you go. The nib is a double broad, and the ink is Mont Blanc pink. Okay, let's do some writing. Writing is nice, smooth, supple. A nice rich ink flow. As you can see, no skipping, beautiful, good, consistent flow. No hard starts, no skips, nothing. Now let's do some fast writing, see how well that keeps up. I skipped a letter here and there. That was my fault because we're trying to do this very quickly, but as you can see, again, no skipping. A really nice, consistent ink flow. Now, wetness is typically something you don't really have to complain about in Visconti pens, and this pen is no exception. Definitely a nice, wet writer. Line variation. It is a double broad, slightly stub-like nib, but even so, with pressure, as you can see, you can squeeze out quite a bit, and also notice that the pen just keeps going and going and going. It doesn't run dry. As I said, a really nice wet ink flow. Let's capitalize on that and do some flex writing. So, the pen is not really advertised as being flex or semi-flex, but if you look at the impressive line variation, I think it is justified to say that it definitely has some really nice springy properties. And if you really want to get a finer nib, you can always write upside down. You still get that stub-like shape. In fact, it's a bit more pronounced because it gets a little finer, but you can do that too. So I would say this would make for a very nice all-round pen. Okay, I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.